David, what'd you do? No, you didn't go back. Well, rest assured that the person that you see right now on your screen is not David. It's not the Alphabet Man. This is Jennifer. This is one of my closest and oldest friends that is still in my life. One of maybe three that is still in my life from my old life. From the old man is dead, and the new man, the new creature, now resides. But I can say that about both of us really because Jim was Jim was out there with me. Jen knows.
Oh, yes.
Jen was there, and Jen's come a long way as well. And so I figure kind of surprise Jen. kind of surprised her with this, but it's all right because we just wanted to just chat. I thought it would be powerful, and I just remind you when you speak, just kind of speak loud because the mic's all over here. So I didn't bring my other mic. So, gosh, I met Jen what 15 years ago. Wow, that's 17 years ago. Yeah, no, 2000. Because 2001 was 9/11 happened, and we were living in Portland.
Yeah. It was before my little jail time.
Yeah. So 19, 20, about almost 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I decided I was going to go to Boston, Massachusetts, and I went to Boston, and I went and lived in a shelter, and then I got kicked out of that shelter because they didn't know what to do with me or where to put me because they couldn't put me with the females and they couldn't put me with the males because there were problems there, and I was caught doing things I shouldn't have been doing, and they put me out, and so I was kicked out of all the shelters in Boston. So I started staying in the commons in the park, but I met Jen at the shelter, and we met in the park, hanging out.
Numerous times.
Yeah, just kind of hanging out and doing our thing, doing whatever we did, and
Trying to survive.
right, survive. Because that's what it is when you're out there like that. It's survival of the fittest, really, or of the sneakiest, the most conniving, the most resourceful, really.
Most
And
dishonest.
yeah. So, and anybody watching, if the audio is not good, then just let me know. Just make a comment, and we'll try to bring it up a little bit. But I think it should be all right. So, wow, met met in Boston, met in the park, met in the shelter, hung out, became pretty tight, and then I moved to Portland, Maine,
Yes.
and got an apartment and started prostituting on a regular. I mean, I was doing that too in Boston, but
This was more in home.
oh yeah, this was escorting, and the clients were coming to me, and so I was like missing my BFF, missing Jen, and so one night I took a thank you, Don. One night I took a taxi cab from Portland, Maine to Boston, Massachusetts on a mission to find Jen. And who was walking down the street right in front of me selling dope? Jen. You remember that night?
I do. I do.
What happened?
I was pretty worried that you weren't too happy with me. And if I remember correctly, we took a cab all the way back to Portland. My memory's not too good. Getting old.
All right, that was good. But you know what? You know, it's funny is that even though I was a transgender prostitute, drugs, alcohol, random sex, sex addiction, whatever, you still thought that I wasn't happy with you because of what you were doing. You know what I mean? Like I was righteous or something, and I wasn't because I was doing worse than you. But no, I wasn't happy.
See?
And so Jen came to Portland, Maine, and we became roommates. And Jen just watched me all through my life. And Jen was supposed to be Jen was taped for the documentary for Fire and Brimstone, but just like my cousin's footage, it was just too much footage and so much good footage that Tom had to really make some decisions and cut out some. And so we still have all that footage, and we're gonna start making some like cutout DVDs. Yeah, like shorter ones, just to be able to give them out and stuff like that for to promo the Fire and Brimstone. But what was life like? You had a view of my life from from the very next room. You saw the goings and the comings and the goings. You saw me. You saw my mood, my character, my emotion. Like what was my life back? What was my life like in your eyes? And be candid. Don't feel like if you say, "Well, I felt sorry for your butt," that I'm gonna get mad because I'm not. But just kind of be like, be
I
candid.
feel like your life was fake. Like you put on a smile, but you were never happy.
Mm.
You would do these things with these men and then go out and splurge. And that's when you would seem happy. But I could tell you weren't. I could tell there was a pain there.
Right.
And I guess some twisted sense, maybe I thought me being there made you happy.
Made me happier. But I mean, when you live like that, and I say this all the time, I didn't live a lie. I became the lie. And a lot of people don't get that, and how like all my different outlets of being miserable and depressed was exactly that, going out and splurging. We used to go like to the food store at 3 o'clock in the morning, take a cab there, fill up 2 carts, and take a cab home. Give all the food away because we didn't have no room for it in the house. Go to the stores, go to the mall, go take cabs everywhere. Go to the Jamaican restaurant, buy a whole bunch of stuff, take it home, and eat half of it.
That
Just
was good food.
yeah, it was. They had like the best oxtails ever.
They did.
And potato salad. I remember their potato salad. But what about the wrong, like the things that I did that were just wrong. See, there's a lot of people out there that don't know, and I noticed like this last weekend when I was at Take on the World conference, and I get this, sit, and I was having like little sessions here and there, talking about different things with people, and when I would share about trying to intentionally and purposely infect people with HIV, a lot of people got uneasy, and then I started telling them how I had a drawer full of condoms that I had already poked holes in them and all kinds of stuff. And then they really got uneasy, but I mean, all of those men, you know, I think about that a lot. So, what do you think about all of that throughout my whole life?
I feel like you had a lot of hatred
Mm,
for yourself.
that's good. That's real good.
Not for those people. You didn't know them.
Right.
I feel like you hated yourself for what you had become.
Mm. Wow. I don't think anyone's ever said that to me before, but it couldn't be more true. That's kind of like where we get to the point where to the world, everyone thinks that we're living this.
Dream life?
Yeah. I mean, everyone thought it was all about me. Wherever we went, to the club, to the bar, walk down the street, everybody just thought it was about me because they thought I was living it, doing the darn thing. And I was doing it. I was doing it all wrong, but I was doing it. But better yet, I don't want to focus on. I want to practice what I preached tonight. I posted a post the other day saying we need to stop focusing on all the negative and the who did it and who done it and why is it being done and all this nonsense and start focusing on some positives. So you didn't see me for a couple years, right?
Yeah.
And then I popped up
Like you do.
in 2010. That was so 2009 is when I got saved, y'all. And then early 2010 we moved from New Jersey to Maine. And funny that we chose Maine because I wanted to go somewhere nobody knew me, but even I had a history in Maine as well. I've been all over the country. I don't think I could have went anywhere that I didn't have a history. So I pop up. What do you like? I never really talked to. I never asked you about that. Like, what did you think? Like, what did you think when you saw me and I was David? And I mean, I was still recovering. I still had the cane and everything. I was still recovering from being so sick. But when you saw me and I was David, what did you even think?
Honestly, you were still the same person inside. Like, yes, you weren't as a female anymore. You were as a man. But I looked in your eyes and you were still a page.
Right.
My best friend, though. Like, it was different. A little adjusting.
Yeah.
But not in a bad way at all.
Wow.
You're not so evil anymore.
I was evil. Wow.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Paige could get me.
Yeah.
Not towards me, ever.
No. No, we never even had a falling out. But yeah.
But now you came back. Well, you were reborn to David.
Right.
And
Praise the Lord.
yes. And the positivity that's there, it's just spilling out.
Mm.
And I've watched it grow from 2010 to now. And it's literally like a bucket that's just overflowing. And you've got people all around you trying to grab it. Grab it because they want it.
Wow. You gonna make me cry.
Sure, though. That's what I see when I look at you.
Wow. Do you think that Do you think that I'm doing what I do right? Like, do you agree or disagree? Now, here's another one. We never talked about this. Do you agree or disagree with what I do ministry wise?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Some of the things that you do when you go out on your own,
Well, yeah, I know.
I agree with those.
Oh, okay.
It's when I see you with others that coerce you
Oh, yeah.
to be
Okay.
like them.
Right. So, like, and she's just kind of referring to me being, getting involved with different ministries that aren't like me. And but what about, like, I mean, just me, like now, especially, like, what do you see in me now in my message? You know, I guess, like, I mean, there's not a person around us right now. There's not a person in this hotel that doesn't have a friend or a family member or a co-worker or a neighbor that is trapped by this deception. What would you say to them? If somebody came to you and was like, this is who I am, what do you think?
Honestly, I'd have to tell them to come see you
Well,
because I believe in God. You know this. I'm a Christian.
not yet.
Not yet. But I believe wholeheartedly that God's got me. But I can't judge the next person by who they are. Not saying you do.
Right.
I wouldn't know how to help them. I haven't fully helped myself.
That's really good. Maybe that's what we see a lot of now. Maybe there's so many people trying to help other people that haven't yet helped themselves, so they can't help other people until they help themselves, right? Wow, it's pretty deep. It is. That's pretty profound.
It's true.
So if you could speak to anybody out there that might really, really be struggling with anything, because I mean, let's put it out there. You did drugs, you sold drugs, you did dirt, you did crimes, you was out there, you was in prison, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what the struggle is, right? The struggle is real.
Oh, yeah.
But what would you, I mean, what would you say to anybody out there right now if you could just give them one clear word or message of hope?
But just when you think you hit rock bottom, there's something always better. That you need to open the doors and see what's there. That, okay, selling drugs and hustling, that's quick money, but you feel so much more accomplished when you work for your money. I mean, I make weekly what I used to make in a night.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Life's beautiful today.
Amen. It is. It really is.
Nothing is worth your life.
I'm so encouraged. I talk about you a lot.
You know?
Yep. I talk about you a lot. Every time I say, I gotta go see my friend Jen, I talk about how we were roommates and the dirt that we did and just so much nonsense. How proud I am of you. Just for coming out of it, you know, you're I talk about you without talking about you also, because I talk a lot about people that can be set free from strongholds and addictions. They can be set free without Jesus, but only Jesus can make them free indeed. And so, like, AA programs and NA and ministries and self-help and willpower and all that stuff can get you free from certain bondage. And some people never return. But that doesn't mean that they are made free, that they are free indeed. And so I talk about that a lot because there's so many people in my life that I want nothing but to see them completely made free and be free indeed. And because I know the blessings of the Lord that just rain down upon them people when they surrender. And so yeah, I talk about you a lot. Uh, I have a prayer team that prays for you, prays for Ernie, and prays for your family as well. You know what I mean. But I thank God for you because He couldn't have placed someone in my life, in my old life, that I'd want to see in my new life like you.
You're my brother. You always will. Always will be.
All right. Before Jen starts bawling her eyes out,
Because I'm a big baby.
I guess we're gonna maybe cut short and
Here to you. There's David.
so I don't want it on. Yeah, just my face is fine. Yeah. Wow. I was gonna sit down and write like questions and scenarios, and then I was like, nah, you kind of just let it, let something like this roll. So I hope it rolled, and that it was pleasing and acceptable, and that as well that it was helpful. And when I say that, I mean like in a sense, like to be able to see that we can still have relationships. We don't have to only have relationships with people who are Christian or who are God's children. We can have relationships with everybody, because unless you have a relationship with them, you can't preach to them, you can't minister to them, you can't be an example to them, and you can't introduce them to Jesus through word, through deed, and through action. Because if you don't have a relationship with them, then you really don't care about them. And so you can't claim to love them if you don't really care about them. Love is obedience. Jesus says, if you love me, you will obey me. God said, love is a fulfillment of the command. It's an action, it's not a warm, fuzzy feeling. So, y'all be blessed. Remain blessed. I love you all. And Lord willing, I'll see y'all in the morning. And until then, peace.